Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. This is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. This is an intro for the gift process, and we're working specifically with an experienced group of us who have already done phase one in some iteration, some form or another. And tonight we're working with phase two. The reason why I wanted this to be a group of people who already have experience is because I'm not laying out any of the exact basics of what phase one and phase three are unless you ask me questions about them. So, what is phase two? How is phase two different from phase one and three? The difference between phase two and phase one is that you find yourself. So I like to think of phase one as a movement of discovery where we go, oh wow, so there's this idea that comes from nature that all life has a gift and that we're all here with a powerful resource and that we're creators. We may not be artists, but we are creators. So whether you're an artist or not, you're still a creator and a creator of your life. So that first phase is about turning inward. The movement is to turn inward and discover yourself on your own terms, your essence, your gift, how it is that you create in essence. And so that first phase is starting your relationship with yourself. That's the movement. And this is I've said this before, that in nature we have infinite examples because nature calls us into our direct relationship with our life force, our direct embodiment of our creative force. Obviously, we know that we are living in culture, and it creates the need for a gift process. So then what happens in phase two, this is the difference, is that we start to ask our gift to show us how it works in the relationship to everything else. So it's the kind of, I've said before that it's sort of like the prove it to me phase. What I know from my direct experience is that our gift is the intelligence that is the bridge between our inner world, our inner experience, and our relational process. Our gift has this very unique capacity to be the bridge in our lives. And that's actually what our gift is for. So, as you know, I try to do this whole thing where I don't define what our gift is. More importantly, we do this. This is something that Nadiel was able to pinpoint into words. We describe what it is that our gift is capable of, or more of like a description base versus like result base. So the idea is that our gift has a very, very advanced overview intelligence of our life. Our gift knows why we're here. Our gift has the capacity to innovate. It's deeply linked to our genetic codes as well as our spirit. It's all the same intelligence that I refer to as biointelligence, life intelligence. And this intelligence lives inside of us as a very specific expression of our essence that I would call our gift. So when we resource it, which is what it's for, and this is what we discover in phase two, is that it's for us first. So what phase two is about is that we do resource it for all of the challenges in our life. So phase two, as I was saying, is like the prove it phase, or another way of saying that is the show me phase. And this phase does not exist anywhere in the culture. I haven't even seen it I barely see it in Aboriginal spaces, cultures. So this whole thing of being able to receive our gift for ourself first, and to have this opportunity to be in deep dialogue with ourselves, our essence, and how it is that we interact with all relationships, how it is that we engage with all relationships. Yeah. And so, as you know, I feel that this is the most exciting, beautiful, crucial phase. It's the difference between giving ourselves away or being conditioned by our culture to commodify ourselves in a way that's not truly coming from our essence, our nature. Does that land? Yeah. And so the way that it works is through this movement of, you take the involution, you start experiencing it as a vitality within you, an intelligence, and from there you start harnessing it. In that harnessing, what you're doing is you're claiming it for yourself. So your, meaning your energy, your essence, your intelligence, your knowing. So you claim it for yourself, and in that claiming, what you do is, rather than give it away or give it to someone specifically, you give it to yourself. And so this phase is about having any challenges in your life that you're working with, any challenges, and asking your gift to show you how to work with it, how to play with it, how to create, how to innovate. Yeah. And so, one thing that I try to help people understand, because I've been living this way for 20 something years now, is that as an intelligence, this is the intelligence that we have all evolved, all life has evolved through. That this is not a mystery intelligence that we're trying to figure out. It is what has fed intelligence into all of our functioning DNA. It has allowed all of our genetics to align to the point of where we are right now. This intelligence is waiting at all times for us to have a direct dialogue with it. So I know this firsthand because I've lived this way for all of these years. I've also held the field of it and seen the miraculous, magical, direct brilliance of its evolutionary capacity, of its ability to innovate. So it's so exciting for me when we gather together for a phase like this, because it's where we're all working together in our lab, so to speak, where we're learning how to listen to and resource this evolutionary, innovative, limitless, creative intelligence that lives inside of us. So that was an infomercial there. How'd I do? Was that good so far? Are we okay? The other most amazing, beautiful, brilliant thing about it is that it changes our understanding of what relationship is. What phase two does is it creates this container for us to go in and gosh, I have like four things I want to say at once. So first of all, it introduces us to our primary relationship, our source, as a direct feed of life force that's within us. Within that, it becomes the primary bond, the primary relationship, which then gives us the opportunity to see clearly in what relationships we don't have healthy attachments and healthy bonding. So what that does, and this is what our gift shows us specifically how it works, is that it shows us the places of where we've sacrificed ourselves, where it is that we've gotten away from our knowing intelligence. It shows us that by bringing us back to our knowing intelligence and resolving these painful attachments and or places where we're hiding. It does all of this through a nourishment, harnessing, involuting, feeding of, filling in where it is that we feel insecure, where it is that we feel less than, where it is that we feel not enough, where it is that we feel confused, all of these things where we feel unsure, unstable, weak, trepidatious, nervous. Yeah. I mean, I know I say this a lot, but I have a PhD in codependence, and that was how my nervous breakdown break through. That was the turning point for me, was that I was so nervous and so insecure and in such deep fear, and had so many false diagnoses and projections around who I was told to be. And so to apply my gift, to go in and actually allow it to show me its own power and capacity and strength, and to keep that long enough for ourselves that it actually resolves the places of where we feel like we're afraid and we want to hide, rather than share our gift. Yeah. So is that clear so far? Yeah. I want to speak to the difference between phase three. So one thing I'll just say, and then I'm going to turn this over to you. If you have any questions, by all means, kick in. So one of the big things that we were working with in phase two is to resist the urge to commodify what we discover. And that's why when we're inside, we keep recycling, we keep involuting, we keep filling in until we see this primary relationship, the primary bond solidify, and we are able to put other relationships, including how people see us in the world, in perspective. So just to remind everyone, this is developmental work. This is what should be happening as we're growing up. And so what we have is this beautiful opportunity to literally go in and keep recycling and holding our life force and our essence, the intelligence of it, to clear up any of this confusion. So what it does when we experience the brilliance of our gift, and I've seen this happen for so many times, there's a moment where you understand your own inherent worth. Also, within that, the traits, the principles of your gift, all of that, you can see the value of it. So, not just the inherent worth, but the value of it. And this is where we stop sacrificing ourselves. And so the feeling is being completely sealed into your own harnessed personal center that has a deep magnetism. And then from there, a solid buffer in your field where you are not having to take on other people's whatevers. And so there's a buffer. That buffer is where you can stay inside and listen to your yes and your no, which is the intelligence of your gift, of how it is that you engage with other things, with every situation. So I'm speaking to the relational process. Yeah. And that's what phase two is about. It's about starting your relationship with your gift in a way that becomes your primary anchor, because it will then teach you and show you how to be in relationship with everything else. And like I said, it's the prove it phase, because in a safe container like this, when we're working for 3 months, we have this opportunity to bring things into the container, challenges into the container, and let our gift show us how it innovates. This is the best way to get to know your gift. Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, You just give it the space and let it show you. And then within that, your own sensory system comes in. Like your dialogue increases. So that's another part of phase two, is that you start to get really clear about what your dialogue with your gift is. Yeah. Yeah. So like for some of us, we usually our gift will communicate through our strongest senses. Yeah. And then from there, it's an elaboration of senses. Yeah. So any questions? That was me saying that little part. Now I wanted to turn this over to you to see if you have anything. Thank you, Diana. It's a layered answer. One is that, just to kind of cut to it right, that the inquiries that we work with, the questions and the processes that we do in the Sunday dives, they bring us into the direct experience of our gift for ourselves. And so then from there, you can bring whatever you need to into that space for your gift to work with. For someone like you and everyone else, basically, who has to function in the world, the idea is to learn how to do that more effectively and succinctly without using your own adrenaline. Yeah.
That's a good
So
one.
yeah. So that's what's the beauty. That's why I love this question, because we're all living in culture,
Yeah.
and we're all trying to be our most authentic self.
Yeah.
And so, like, especially when you're living with your gift already in the world. Yeah. So usually I try to help people answer the question for whether or not phase two is right for them by asking questions like, do you find that you're sacrificing yourself? Do you find that you're overextending your energy? Are you coming from overflow? Like really functional questions. That, and also, how is your magnetism? Here's the brilliance, is that your gift is limitless, and it doesn't have conditions. So it can actually show you how to be in a personal internal process with it, while also very much innovating in the relational process with your work. Yeah. Like, for example, I'm a perfect example of this. I am in phase one, phase one and two of my gift process. So obviously I've done many iterations of this, and about a year and a half ago, maybe somewhere around there, a year ago, my gift said, you're entering into discovery now. That means that you're not going to put pressure on yourself to create anything. You're going to discover, and you're going to create something you've never created before. And so at that same time, I looked at everything that I was completing that was all coming from my gift, showing me that I needed to complete books, workshops, series, um, and was shown how to do all of it. So I was supposed to be on hiatus for this whole year. But my gift was like, no, 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 no. You're going to engage with people. You're going to be in discovery and phase two of involuting, and you're going to expand and share even more than you probably have in years. And as you can see, this is my third series this year, which I usually only offer one or two while I'm writing two books. Yeah. So what happened for me was that I needed to reorganize certain things. Like, I had to pull back on this thing, put this thing here. Yeah, but what it's doing is it's showing me how to do stuff. So I just basically doubled down on my practice of the daily practice, which is going in and being like, show me, how do I do this day? Show me how to do this. Yeah. So just one more thing with that, just to say, and then we can play with it. the daily practice of being in the show me space is where the refinement happens in phase two. Yeah, because you can take anything that's coming up that day and ask your gift to show you how to do it sustainably. Yeah.
So then were you finding that, like, so while you're in phase one and you're still serving people,
Mhm.
being with people, were you finding that you were just, I guess I'm hearing that it's not that you were just doing what you'd always done. You were actually experiencing expansions yourself. Is that true? In
Right now I am. Yeah. That's
yeah.
what the discovery phase is.
Mhm.
It's expansions, and then from there these little buds start to show up, little ideas, but the whole point is that those new ideas, you don't run with them and give them to your community. You keep them and harness them and involute in them and feed them. Yeah. And so the just that's what happens with the gift project. Again, this is lives in nature, but it's like you can feel that you have something new or something that's a need inside of you that's needing tending to, and you hold it in the container. And the inquiries that we work with during the weeks help us break our patterns of giving it away too soon or not having enough energy and why. And yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. And I guess what I'm hearing is what I said. Oh, I think I just heard you answer it already, which is it also true that just by being in it and doing the daily practice, that's where that question is going to get answered.
Yeah,
What you're saying.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like I was saying, like a group process can be supportive for us if we're struggling with patterns. Like we're struggling with patterns where we where we're not sustainable. That's one thing. Obviously, with this group, what you want is like this feeling of that how you posed the question of like, I just need time with my gift. I need time listening and feeling, and I need time feeding from my gift. Yeah. So does that how does that feel?
That's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Suki, let me say this thought because it's been coming up and it's before we go on. So what is the difference between phase two and phase three? Phase three is where you learn how to bring your new form of your gift into the world. And what this is why phase two is so crucial is that in phase two, you're deepening into your dialogue with your gift so specifically that it's showing you new ways to build container. It's showing you new forms. It's showing you new insights about the how and the why. Yeah. And so somewhere in that, everything starts to become, and this again is in nature, everything starts to fill in so much that you start feeling this overflowing thing where it's like it's not just buds, it's sprouts. It's not just sprouts, it's full fruits. The fruits are not just ripe, they're falling, they're sweating. And not only that, people are starting to be like, what do you have? I need it. And so that's phase three. Yeah, phase two is about not actually putting any demand on your system. Yeah. So that once it's developed, it can fully um ripen. Yeah.